Good afternoon, guys. Hi. My name is Rohit Prakash. Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, the 29th of April. First off, I want to say, we're in this quarantine thing together, and a prayer for our frontliners. That includes nurses, emergency responders, firefighters, policemen, and all delivery people that are out there risking their lives for us on a constant basis during this Corona 19 virus affair that we have going on here. This is I just finished coming out of the shower right now, and for those of us guys, gentlemen, meaning men, that have any type of skin problems or skin irritations or things like that, whenever I take a shower or early in the morning or before I go to sleep, I have to put these two ointments on my face, which is good for my skin because I had skin discoloration. Now, if you're having that, a gentleman, and you're embarrassed to speak about that with somebody, I went to my dermatologist, and the way I found my dermatologist was I went to, excuse my hair, guys. I just got out of the shower, so I have the slick back quarantine look, and the ointments on my face. Let's get back on track here. The way I found my dermatologist was I got my insurance card out, and I called my insurance company, and I called customer support or customer service. I forgot which one, and I asked them, "Can you please tell me if my policy covers my skincare dermatologist?" And they told me yes. And then when they tell you yes, or whatever they tell you, you can ask them which ones are in your network, or how can I find them online, and what's my copayment. And typically it'll be on your insurance card, or the person over the phone for your insurance representative they will tell you what your copay is. You can ask them any questions. You're paying a lot a month anyways, or it's getting deducted monthly for your health insurance anyways. You might as well put it to good work. For me personally, for skin discoloration and get it back, then this thing has worked phenomenal for me. It's been about 3 weeks into it. I used to have a lot of more than I have now, skin discoloration here and up here. But for me, this here, a tacrolimus ointment right here is prescribed. You can't get it over the counter. And this right here, cyclopirox olamine, I have to put these two ointments on my face every morning after I shower, and every evening before I go to sleep. Or if I do it twice a day, I just showered right now. Um, Again, I gotta put on because I wiped it off naturally, and that should clear up. That was just for me in particular, and they gave me an anti-inflammatory, which I take for the insides. There's also organic and all natural ways you can remedy the situation for the anti-inflammatory. You could take turmeric as an anti-inflammatory. It's a major ingredient in Hindu cuisine and Indian cooking, so I take that naturally. So that wasn't doing it for me. I needed something much stronger. As I mentioned before, it was probably because I'm getting over addiction and I'm in recovery. So this is probably the aftermath of the stages of recovery, even though it's been 2 years and 8 months, which I'm very, very grateful for. It's a major, major blessing. This could probably be perhaps one of the side effects of it. So, I'm just grateful to be here and to have a sobering life, and to have people that are kind enough to listen to me, and hopefully you could take my advice and implement it into your everyday affairs. Uh, I just thought I'd get on here and give you a Wednesday afternoon update on Somewhat Wisdom. You can check me out, guys, daily. I'll have here on YouTube Somewhat Wisdom. And the video right now I'm shooting from my iPhone 8 Plus, and so the quality you're gonna get is that for the time being. I'm in the market right now for improving my setup and editing services and all that kind of stuff. But that's for what goes on behind the scenes. Uh, one of my major my my core expertise is in investments, and I have a paid partnership with a gentleman named Andrew Schultz. And Andrew Schultz is responsible for a lot of my upbringing. When I first got involved with a major investment bank, he was the person that took me under his wing, gave me his business plan, and then let me flourish. And as I flourished, he flourished exponentially as well. Now he's the director of private wealth management in an investment bank on the retail side, and I'm a part of that team. So being a part of that team lets me do what I love to do, which is allocate investments and handle platinum or ultra high net worth individuals, and allocate their assets. And a little bit about my background is I have a master's in finance, a bachelor's in communications, um, and I majored in advertising on the creative and the business side, but the diploma says communications. And there was two ways you could have gone. I could have gone either creative or business in my undergrad. I just wanted the easy way out at that point in time. So at that point in time, I just picked the creative route because I thought it was going to be easy, which it wasn't. But I did all those credits also. But midway in between at creative, I decided I wanted to go on the business side also. So I have creative and business side experience. So I ended up graduating with more credits than I needed, and then I got a minor in marketing also. And I also took a CLEP exam when I was in college. This was back. I graduated in 2001 for my undergrad, and I graduated in 2012. I entered for a master's program, and I graduated in 2013 with my master's in finance. But with my undergraduate, I took something called a CLEP exam. I took it in Spanish, and somehow I passed it because I was born here in Miami, Florida, and I could speak Spanish. And the exam was administered in Spanish, and that exempted me from 9 credits, which is a whole semester. So I was able to graduate on time with the extra credits. And then I was able, somehow I made a phone call to, I saw an opening. I always had an interest in investments and stocks and bonds and things like that, and making money. I've always been attracted to that ever since I was young. And I answered an ad when I was about, I think, 20 or 21 for on Monster.com. It was Monster.com for a financial advisor associate, and it was at Morgan Stanley. So I did that. I gave a call and I spoke to the gentleman. He led me over there, and that gentleman, I was cold calling for him, getting clients in, and this was in 2001, and when 9/11 hit right after. So the markets were scarce, very scarce, which means that there was a shortage of people coming in and wanting to look at their portfolios because everybody was scared because the markets were going down and this and this and that. And somehow, with me cold calling for this gentleman, I managed to get people into the door when nobody else could. So for this gentleman, he did a seminar with the people that I invited to the seminar. And this was about, I think, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months into the internship. And people came into the seminar, and I was just an associate then. And everybody was kind of impressed about that. And especially Andrew Schultz was impressed, but I wasn't under his guidance yet. So the other party who I was cold calling with got promoted, and he became a branch manager over in the Fort Lauderdale offices. But me personally, I was left. He put me under Andrew Schultz, the best, the highest producing advisor at that time, and still today, and where he is now. But at that time, uh, he was the highest producing advisor there in Hollandale Beach, and he taught me everything about his way of doing business, which was I was very attentive and very focused and fortunate on everything. I took notes and did everything, and then eventually he gave me, it's like I had my pair of wings, and then he showed me the way to fly on my own, so I can do my seminars on my own and speak on my own and do one-on-one client interviews and client meetings and conduct them. He laid the foundation and the foreground of how to do that properly. And in doing that, I ended up finding what I really was about, and I enjoyed that kind of interaction and um, that kind of chemistry uh, between a client and the advisor. Okay, and I really really love doing that. And then I became after a while, there would be events that we would allow. You would drink occasionally with clients, and when I would drink with clients, I would nothing. It was all good in the beginning. We always had drinks like from time to time, but I ended up escalating, and long story short, I couldn't control drinking. The bottle took control of me, and I ended up getting sued for about $70,000, and the company had to cover that, and they had to let me go, or we had to separate. We just separated over the allegations. We just separated. I had nothing bad to say about them, and it was just that was one of the saddest moments of my life, and that sent me into a downward spiral, and that was in 2008. And then it got really, really bad, and I got lots of help. And during that time, after that, I got into another discount brokerage firm for about a year. And then I decided to pursue some internet and online businesses. And at that point in time, I had to move back in with my parents. And moving back in with my parents, I had to let go of everything. I let go of, at that day, at that time, I had a house in Dania Beach. I was renting an apartment in Pinecrest, and I just sold a house for 100% profit in North Miami Beach. And I had a white Audi A6. And I had to let go of the white Audi A6. I had to let go of the apartment in Pinecrest, Florida. For those of you that don't know, that's a upper middle class area here in Miami-Dade, over on the east side uh, of US 1 or South Dixie Highway. And I had to get control of myself, and I went through major depression. I was having hallucinations. I was trying to get sober. When you're trying to get sober without help, they call it white knuckling. So I was white knuckling it, and that wasn't doing it for me. I just couldn't not get control of myself. I needed help. And on in April 2017, from April 2017, from April 11th through April 21st, I spent my 30th birthday no, excuse me, my 38th birthday in the hospital. I remember because the nurse had asked me, "What are you doing here on your birthday?" And I said, "I got acute pancreatitis." And that's a direct result of drinking myself to oblivion. So the pain was so unbearable that they gave me about two morphine drips, and I had to ask for more. I had to call the nurse for more. That's how bad it was. The pain, I couldn't even move. And then even after that, they put me on Oxycontin. I took Oxycontin, and then we realized I was highly addicted, so we asked the doctor we being my father and myself, asked the doctor if we could switch it to Tylenol, codeine, um, yes, Tylenol, codeine, or something like that. That was less addictive, but would do the trick, but you still feel the pain. The way the pancreatitis works and the way the pain subsides is on its own. It just decreases the swelling. So I was petrified. I didn't even want to leave the hospital. I was so petrified. But then when I got home, I just couldn't leave. I just couldn't move for a while. But then a month and 2 months later, I started hanging around the wrong people and the wrong crowd again, and I started. But it's initially I take a full accountability. It's my fault completely, totally. So I started drinking again, and it's at that point in time that ultimately I ended up I had to go to a spiritual program that saved my life, and without that I wouldn't. I really think truly I would be dead. I was ready to die because I remember putting my head on the pillow before I had a Baker Act called on me, and in that Baker Act, I um, I called the police myself. I was so drunk, and the cop that arrested me, the cop that Baker acted me is the same cop that had arrested me about a week prior. And that cop came to the door and he asked me if you remember. He goes, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "Yeah." And then he asked me if I wanted to hurt myself. And at that point, I was so aggravated and so drunk that I said yes. And he asked me again, "Are you sure?" Because this cop wanted to let me out of it, I believe. And then I said yes again. And he said, "Okay, turn around." And they put me in handcuffs. And it was dark at night. I remember the sirens going off and they're in front of my house. And I was crying. And I asked the guy, "Are you going to take me to jail again?" And he's like, "No, we're going to take you a Baker Act you." I don't know what that was. So they took me to Kendall Regional. And I had to stay there. They took me to Kendall Regional, explained to me what a Baker Act was. I had to stay there for 7 days. I went under, psychiatric evaluation, and the doctors and the psychologists and everybody just came up with the same conclusion. I told them my resume, what I did, and what I'm about. What makes me tick. And they suggested, get on these types of medications. Why don't you get into one of the high-profile psychologists or psychiatrists said, a very smart guy. He said, why don't you get into real estate? Or, because I explained to him I had something on my record from the investments. I had something on my record that's, it's a kind of like a negative mark from what happened when I got sued for the $70,000. And I explained that. So he suggested real estate, and I said, no, that's not really my thing. That's not what I'm about. And he goes, well, you just consider it. And I said, all right. And when I was in there, it was a Kendall Regional Hospital. When I was in there, what I thought was going to be a 3-day stay ended up being a 7-day stay. And it was one of the worst times of my life because that place the facility itself was really clean and the staff is really friendly. And they're really great, fantastic people. However, that's not solely dedicated for alcoholics. It's dedicated for people with all types of mental issues. So you could have someone that's an alcoholic, and then someone that has paranoid schizophrenia. So they have different types of illnesses in the same room, in the same facilities. So you're exposed to, different climates in the same atmosphere. Okay, so it's a little scary. So I was grateful to be home, and there was no one I could speak to, so I had to join this spiritual program that really, really saved my life. And I'm extremely, extremely grateful. I'm full of gratitude. Um, and, my business partner now, we reunited, Andrew Schultz and myself, because of this program and because of the spiritual and because of my mentors that I acquired in the program. And the action steps that I took and my way of being is totally different now. And typically I would be more of an introvert and keep these type of things to myself. But throughout these years, and I've grown, evolved, and developed, and I learned that this story can touch one person, and it could help one person. And if it does, and I hope it does, and I could send that through this teleportal system I call my smartphone to you, you know, then for me that's a successful day. That goes beyond any monetary amount that I could have earned doing anything, is to help somebody get over their addiction. Because I wouldn't wish what happened to me to my worst enemy. I just wouldn't. It was just so painful and horrifying. But now it's the weather's beautiful outside. I'm with my family here, take care of me. We're remodeling the house. I'm able to come on the platform and share my story. I have a spiritual program, people that support me, and people that love me. Very important for people out there. Just it may be common sense to a lot of people, but common sense is not always common. You want to surround yourself with people that bring out the best in you, and that want to see you thrive in any environment. Maybe if you grew up together, that's fine. If you didn't and you just met them, that's fine. But time means nothing. And I got this from Jay Shetty. He said he typed it once in one of his quotes that you can know somebody for like 20 years, or he said 2 years or 20 years, and then you could meet somebody for that gave you time for 2 months, and what they gave you in 2 months, the person that gave you for 20 years means, it made you feel more important and you got more connected to the person in 2 months. So time in that matter is nothing. So I remember that quote, and it was very important, very applicable to my situation, and it's very true. So you want to find people, and we want to be a little bit aggressive and greedy. Greedy has kind of a negative connotation, but we want to be greedy with our time, and we might step on some toes and break some eggs to make an omelet. But it's very important. And if you have to stick to yourself a little bit and be alone, but not lonely, but be alone and do some things for yourself. So, and they may seem a little awkward. If they seem awkward, that's fine, as long as you're good upstairs. Upstairs meaning your mental state of being. Okay, and everything will hopefully will turn out right for you. So this was my afternoon update of Somewhat Wisdom. I got out of the shower, and after putting on my creams while I was putting on my ointments, I thought, hey, maybe I could share this story and it could help somebody. And that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do, is help people figure out what and how to do things, and they can implement it inside of their lives. And I hope I could do that for you. Remember, the way we find beauty, if it's not around us or inside of us, we create it, and we start positive in here, and then we make a positive impact out there, and surround yourself with a good support system. And if you don't know where of a good support system, you can look it up on Facebook. Go on Facebook and look it up on Facebook. There's a whole myriad of groups. Oh, there's a lot of different groups that you can get involved in, even if you're shy and or introverted or intimidated or what have you. And you can, if not, you can go on Google, or you could look at people's Facebook pages, or you could Instagram pages, or you can direct message me or private message me. I'd be more than happy to send you in the proper directions. Remember that in these type of times, especially right now, and even though things seem to be getting better, and Florida is progressing, we want to make sure that the lines of communication are very open, because Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, uh, and on all the other social media platforms. These are all the fabric of communications, and we want to make full use of them to reach out for everybody to make sure they're okay in these uncertain times. Okay, I'm going to sign off now. Have a very, very good Wednesday. Thank you for taking 22 minutes and 53 seconds of listening to me, and I hope this could help you in some way, shape, fashion, or form. I'm sending much love and positive energy through my teleportal iPhone 8 Plus here, okay? Take care. Bye-bye. Love you.